The video begins with an Abrams tank, as part of a Ukrainian convoy firing at enemy positions in the Pokrovsk region. At the same time, drones and artillery assisted the attack.
Плюс один вогонь.
And Ukrainian APCs deployed their infantry. An operation of the Ukrainian Brave Forces has just begun. Get your coffee ready, because this is going to be interesting. A week earlier, Russia had carried out several large-scale offensives, specifically to capture the Pokrovsk region. A convoy of Russian tanks and armored vehicles moved forward to carry out an attack along the roads of the region. Another group of soldiers prepared to attack on four-wheeled motorcycles, but the Ukrainians immediately discovered the attack. Drones and artillery are ready. The convoy is approaching. Let's see what it looks like from the Russian army's perspective. They casually rode on top of the steel vehicle. A heavy machine gun fired into the trees. The first drone locked onto the rear of one of the APC and attacked. The attack was accurate. At the same time, the bomber drone destroyed the APC. A few well-placed shots turned the war machine into a burning pile of scrap metal. The remaining drones are used to eliminate immobile targets. First, a tank was destroyed. Then, 2 APCs. Through the drone camera, we can see the results of the performance of Ukrainian operators. The entire Russian column was completely destroyed. Four-wheeled vehicles, motorbikes, and armored vehicles were engulfed in flames. The Abrams tanks that will be heading to the battlefield like that are equipped with additional protective layers. And now, the time has come. Under the cover of fog, a Ukrainian convoy moves forward. A tank with a mine-clearing troll leads the way. Right behind him came an Abrams and several APCs carrying infantry. Here we see a convoy of troops approaching Pokrovsk. Only a few hundred meters left to enter the city. The Russians finally came to their senses. They launched drones into the air, and infantry troops began moving into more advantageous positions. The Abrams tank is slightly further forward. This is to dismantle the enemy's defenses. Now, Abrams has moved further forward. Taking advantage of this, the Ukrainian infantry moved safely from one shelter to another, clearing building after building. Elsewhere, the 28th Mechanized Brigade released a video showing the destruction and retreat of a Russian tank convoy near Toretsk. At least dozens of Russian military vehicles were targeted in the attack. The 4-5-second video shows one or more companies of Russian tanks and armored vehicles being repeatedly attacked by Ukrainian drones. Ukraine has released a series of such videos as part of a public relations effort to draw international and local attention to its apparent military successes against Russia. Authorities have also released similar aerial footage of attacks on Russian military vehicles on the main road leading to Toretsk. The Russian convoy was spotted by Ukrainian aerial reconnaissance units, who then coordinated artillery and drone strikes. ISW has reported that Russian forces have advanced along the Kurakhove and Toretsk front lines. as well as into the center of Chasiv Yar. However, Ukrainian forces have successfully repelled them in parts of Toretsk. Evhen Alkimov, press officer for the 28th Mechanized Brigade, noted that the Toretsk urban front line was essentially over, as Russian forces continued to build up strength for an offensive in the area. In the Toretsk sector, the Ukrainian military successfully repelled a Russian attack, destroying a large tank convoy and a Russian landing force. The Russian forces, having intensified their attack with heavy equipment, attempted to advance in large numbers, but their advance was halted thanks to the efficient work of Ukrainian aerial reconnaissance units, artillery, and drones. During the fighting, a tank convoy loaded with infantry was detected and neutralized by adjusting artillery fire and using drones. As a result of the attack, 2 Russian tank units were destroyed, and 2 other units began to retreat, leaving their soldiers on the battlefield. The troops scattered, some ending up in open fields, while others hid in the surrounding bushes. On February 22, ISW reported that Russian forces continued their offensive near Toretsk and Velika Novosilka in Donetsk Oblast, but failed to achieve significant progress. On March 1, ISW again confirmed that Ukrainian forces had recaptured territory in the Toretsk area. A Russian tank convoy was also destroyed by Ukrainian army artillery in the eastern Donbass region. The Ukrainian Army's 24th Motorized Brigade announced that dozens of tanks and other armored vehicles were destroyed in an attack last week. According to Ukrainian intelligence, Vladimir Putin's army also mistakenly destroyed a battalion of its own soldiers, mistaking them for Ukrainian troops. The Battle of Toretsk is a battle between the Russian armed forces and the Ukrainian armed forces for control of the city of Toretsk and surrounding settlements. The attempt to capture the city is part of a renewed effort to seize parts of Donetsk Oblast. Toretsk plays a strategic role in Donetsk Oblast due to its crucial geographic location, which allows it to control vital supply lines and access to major urban centers. Recent developments indicate increased military activity in the region. Russian forces are advancing towards Nadivka, Dakhne, and Suki-i-Yali, approaching strategic locations near Pokrovsk. The first offensive battles towards Toretsk by the Russian armed forces began long ago, when the settlements of Pivden, Pivnichne, and New York were targeted for the first time in months. That same day, Ukrainian officials reported a sudden escalation in Russian attacks on the key city. Russian militant bloggers frequently claim Russian troop advances toward Toretsk, including advances toward Pivnichne, although these claims are not supported by Western sources. Russia continues shelling settlements attacked the day before, as well as the areas of Zalizne, Druzhba, and Shumy. Russian forces continue their attacks on towns around Toretsk, and Russian sources claim they have advanced into southern New York. Russian forces have captured Shumy, and Russia continues to claim advances in Pivnichne, as well as in Pivdene and Druzhba. Claims of Russian advances in Pivnichne, in addition to the capture of Shumy, have also been confirmed by Ukrainian military observers. Russian forces are advancing toward Druzhba and continuing attacks in Pivnichne, Pivdene, and New York. Russian sources also claim further advances in Pivnichne and Druzhba, as well as advances towards southern New York. ISW analyzes that advancing on Toretsk is not currently a top priority for Russia, as they have not committed significant forces to the operation so far, and assesses that a major Russian advance in the area is unlikely to occur quickly. Russian sources claim that Russia has also reached beyond Zalizne and entered New York, although this latter claim has not been confirmed by non-Russian sources. Toretsk is claimed by Russian sources to be 1.5 kilometers from the front line due to recent Russian advances, but this is disputed by ISW. which assesses that Russian forces are approximately 3 kilometers from Toretsk.